Hey everyone, hope you're doing great. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we'll dive into what if Naruto has grimoire. Smash that subscribe button, and be sure to peek at the description below. Let's begin. The swing squeaked. It was a lonely, rhythmic sound that cut through the murmur of the happy crowd, a rusty metronome counting down the seconds of Naruto Uzumaki's misery. The sun was beginning to dip below the horizon, casting long, orange shadows across the academy courtyard. The excited chatter of parents and the proud shouts of newly graduated genin filled the air, creating a wall of sound that Naruto felt he couldn't penetrate. He sat alone, his goggles pressing into his forehead, looking at the ground. "There he is," a woman whispered nearby. She didn't bother to lower her voice enough. "The only one who failed. It's for the best," another voice replied, dripping with a cold, jagged disdain. "Imagine if he became a ninja. It's bad enough he's allowed to walk around the village." Naruto gripped the ropes of the swing until his knuckles turned white. He knew they were talking about him. They always were. It was the same look he had seen his entire life. Eyes filled with a mixture of fear and loathing, like he was a disease that might jump off his skin and infect them. He had failed. Again. The graduation exam had been simple: create a clone. It was the most basic of ninjutsu. Sakura had done it perfectly. Sasuke had produced 3 identical copies without breaking a sweat. Even Kiba, who spent half the class sleeping, had managed a decent illusion. But Naruto? Naruto had poured his chakra into the technique, squeezed his eyes shut, and prayed to whatever gods watched over Konoha. When the smoke cleared, there wasn't a clone. There was a pale, writhing, sickly thing on the floor that looked like a deflated balloon made of skin. It had grown once and vanished. Iruka-sensei's disappointed sigh still rang in his ears. "I'm sorry, Naruto." "Naruto?" Naruto looked up, snapping out of his dark spiral. Mizuki-sensei was standing there, a gentle smile on his face. The white-haired Chunin had a way of looking at Naruto that didn't feel like the others. It wasn't hate. It felt like pity? Or perhaps opportunity. "Sensei," Naruto mumbled, looking back at his feet. "You know, Iruka isn't trying to be mean," Mizuki said, leaning against the tree that held the swing. "He wants you to be strong. But he's strict." "I wanted to pass," Naruto said, his voice cracking. "I practiced. I really did. But the chakra, it just doesn't listen to me. It feels like trying to hold water in a net." Mizuki chuckled softly. He crouched down so he was at eye level with the blonde boy. "Maybe you just haven't found the right way to use your chakra yet, Naruto. Maybe the standard way isn't for you." Naruto's blue eyes widened slightly. "What do you mean?" Mizuki looked around conspiratorially, then lowered his voice to a whisper. "There is a shortcut. A way to become a ninja tonight, without waiting another year. But it's a secret." "A secret?" Naruto leaned in, the desperation rolling off him in waves. "Tell me. I'll do anything. I need to show them." "There is a scroll," Mizuki whispered, his eyes gleaming with a strange light. "The Scroll of Seals. It is kept in the Hokage's personal library within the tower. It contains the most powerful jutsu in the village. Jutsu that were created by the first Hokage himself. If you can retrieve it and learn just one technique from it, surely Iruka would have to pass you." Naruto's heart hammered against his ribs. Stealing from the Hokage? It sounded insane. It sounded impossible. It sounded like the greatest prank of all time. "Really?" Naruto asked. "If I learn a jutsu from it, I become a ninja?" "I guarantee it," Mizuki lied smoothly. "I'll be waiting in the woods near the old shack. Meet me there once you have it." Naruto jumped off the swing, the rust shaking off the chains. His sadness evaporated, replaced by a fiery resolve. He adjusted his goggles, a grin stretching across his whiskered face. "You just watch, Mizuki-sensei. I'm going to be the best student you've ever seen." The Hokage Tower loomed over the village, a pillar of red and white illuminated by the moonlight. Infiltrating it should have been impossible for a dropout student, but Naruto possessed a unique set of skills. He was small, he was loud enough that people ignored quiet noises assuming he wasn't involved, and he knew every ventilation shaft in the building from years of fleeing ANBU after painting the monument. He navigated the corridors like a ghost. The sexy jutsu, his one true mastery, had taken care of the guards at the entrance, leaving them unconscious with massive nosebleeds. Now, he stood before the heavy oak doors of the archives. He pushed them open. They creaked, a low groan that echoed in the silence. The library was massive. It smelled of dust, old parchment, and history. Moonlight filtered through the high windows, illuminating rows upon rows of scrolls, books, and artifacts. The air felt heavy here, thick with the residual chakra of 1,000 dead ninja. Okay, Naruto whispered to himself. Scroll of seals. Big scroll. Probably has secret written on it. He moved through the aisles. There were scrolls on fire style, scrolls on barrier creation, scrolls on history. He found a scroll on the digestive habits of ninja hounds and tossed it aside. Where is it? He hissed, panic starting to set in. He turned a corner into a section of the library that looked neglected. The shelves here weren't polished wood. They were heavy iron, rusted and cold. Chains were draped across the bookcases, and a sign hung askew, quarantined, do not touch. Forbidden, Naruto muttered, a grin creeping onto his face. That sounds like the good stuff. He scanned the shelves. And then, he saw it. It wasn't a scroll. It sat on a pedestal in the far back, separated from the other books. It was a book, but it looked ancient. The cover was a deep, greasy black, tattered and worn as if it had been dragged through a battlefield. It was bound in dark iron that looked like claws gripping the spine. On the cover, barely visible beneath layers of grime and soot, was a faded symbol of a clover. Most clovers had 3 leaves. Some lucky ones had 4. This one had 5. Naruto felt a strange pull. It wasn't like the warm, fuzzy feeling of eating ramen. It was a cold, magnetic yank in his gut. The air around the pedestal seemed to vibrate. Maybe the scroll is behind this thing, Naruto rationalized. He reached out. The moment his fingertips brushed the leather cover of the book, the world tilted. Thump, a heartbeat. Not his own. Gah! Naruto jerked his hand back, clutching his wrist. It felt like he had touched a live wire. But the sensation wasn't electricity. It was suction. He stared at the book. It hadn't moved, yet it felt like it was staring back. What are you? He whispered. He reached out again, slower this time. He grabbed the spine of the book. Immediately, a wave of exhaustion hit him. His knees buckled. He gasped, feeling his chakra, his massive, chaotic, endless reserves of chakra, being ripped out of his coils and funneled into the book. It was voracious. It was starving. More. He could hear the word in his head. It wasn't a voice. It was a concept. A demand? Hey! Let go! Naruto yelled, trying to drop the book. But he couldn't. His hand was stuck to the leather. The book was heavy, incredibly heavy, far heavier than paper and iron should be. It felt like he was holding a boulder. Red chakra, the stuff he usually kept buried deep down, bubbled up to the surface to compensate for the drain. The book drank that too. It drank and drank until the black cover seemed to pulse with a faint, reddish-purple vein. Then, with a final, sickening lurch, the drain stopped. The book fell from his hand, hitting the floor with a metallic clang that sounded like a prison door slamming shut. Naruto fell to his hands and knees, panting. Sweat poured down his face. What the hell was that? He looked at the book. It looked different now. The grime was still there, but the iron bindings seemed to have tightened. It looked less like an object and more like a weapon. Naruto knew he should leave it. Every instinct in his gut, honed by years of pranks and survival, screamed at him to run. But Naruto Uzumaki never listened to common sense. If it takes that much chakra, he wheezed, wiping his mouth, it must be strong. He grabbed the book. It was still heavy, but now, it felt manageable. Like it had eaten its fill and was allowing him to carry it. He shoved the thick, heavy tome into the back of his jumpsuit, tightening his belt to hold the weight. He stood up, his legs shaking, and looked around. On the shelf directly above where the book had been sat a large scroll with the kanji for seal. Found you, he grinned weakly. He grabbed the scroll of seals, threw it over his back, and scrambled toward the window. He had the goods. Now he just needed to survive the night. The forest was quiet, save for the chirping of crickets and the heavy, ragged breathing of a 12-year-old boy. Naruto sat in a small clearing, illuminated by the moonlight. The scroll of seals was spread open before him. The grimoire, the black book, lay next to him in the dirt. He had tried to open it earlier, but the pages were stuck together, as if fused by age and rust. Okay, Naruto muttered, squinting at the large scroll. Let's see. First jutsu. Multi-shadow clone jutsu. He read the description. A forbidden technique that creates physical copies of the user by splitting their chakra evenly. Clones again? Naruto groaned, throwing his head back. Why does it have to be clones? It's my worst subject. Is the universe pranking me? He looked at the hand signs. There was only one. The cross seal. Okay. I can do this. I have to do this. He put his fingers together. He focused. He pulled at his chakra. Poof! A cloud of smoke appeared. When it cleared, there was a Naruto. But it was dead. Well, not dead, but it looked like a scarecrow made of pudding. It flopped onto the ground and dissolved into smoke. Damn it! Naruto yelled, kicking the dirt. Suddenly, the black book next to him rattled. Naruto froze. What? The book rattled again. The cover creaked open slowly. The pages turned by themselves, the sound like dry leaves scraping together. It stopped on a page that was completely black, covered in unintelligible, scratchy white writing that looked like claw marks. I can't read this, Naruto said, leaning over it. Is this a language? It looks like chicken scratch. He reached out to touch the page. As he did, the text shifted. The white scratches moved, rearranging themselves. They didn't form words, exactly. They formed feelings. Intentions. Reject. The concept slammed into his brain. Push. Deny. Away. Naruto. Naruto jumped, snapping the book shut instinctively. He spun around to see Iruka-sensei landing on a tree branch, breathing hard. Iruka looked angry, but beneath the anger was relief. Iruka-sensei. Naruto laughed nervously, scratching the back of his head. I found you. Or you found me, you idiot! Iruka yelled, jumping down. Do you have any idea what you've done? Stealing the scroll of seals is a serious crime, but I learned a jutsu, Naruto said, holding up the scroll. Mizuki-sensei said if I showed you I learned a jutsu, you'd let me graduate. Iruka froze. The anger drained from his face, replaced by confusion. Mizuki? Yeah. Naruto beamed. He told me about the scroll. He said it was a shortcut. Iruka's eyes widened. The pieces clicked into place. The sudden helpfulness of Mizuki. The way the patrol routes had been conveniently open. Naruto, Iruka said, his voice trembling. Get down! Whoosh! A barrage of kunai tore through the air. Iruka shoved Naruto aside, taking the brunt of the attack. The blades sank into Iruka's flak jacket and leg. He hit the ground, grunting in pain. Iruka-sensei! Naruto screamed. Laughter echoed from the trees. Mizuki stepped out from the shadows, two large shurikens strapped to his back. His face was twisted into a sneer that looked nothing like the friendly teacher Naruto knew. Good work, Naruto, Mizuki said, extending a hand. Now, hand over the scroll. What's going on? Naruto looked between the two men, panic rising in his chest. Why did you hurt Iruka-sensei? Because he's in the way, Mizuki spat. Give me the scroll, you little demon. Don't give it to him, Naruto. Iruka shouted, pulling a kunai from his leg with a grimace. He's using you. He wants the scroll for himself so he can leave the village. Mizuki laughed, a high cold sound. Naruto, do you want to know the truth? Do you want to know why everyone in the village hates you? Why they look at you like you're garbage? Stop it, Mizuki! Iruka yelled. It's because of a rule, Mizuki continued, his eyes boring into Naruto. A rule created 12 years ago. The rule is that no one is allowed to tell you who you really are. Naruto took a step back, clutching the scroll of seals to his chest. The black book in his belt felt hot against his back. Who am I? You are the nine-tailed fox! Mizuki screamed. The monster that destroyed the village. The beast that killed Iruka's parents. You aren't human, Naruto. You're the thing they all fear. The world stopped. Silence rushed into Naruto's ears, drowning out the forest sounds. The looks. The whispers. The loneliness. It all made sense. They didn't hate him because he was annoying. They hated him because he was a monster. I killed Iruka-sensei's parents? No. Naruto whispered. Tears welled up in his eyes. No, that's a lie. It's the truth. Mizuki yelled. He reached for the giant shuriken on his back. And now, I'm going to finish what the fourth Hokage started. Die, Nine Tails. Mizuki threw the shuriken. The massive blade spun through the air, aiming straight for Naruto's neck. Naruto couldn't move. His legs were lead. His mind was shattered. Thunk. Blood splattered onto Naruto's cheek. He opened his eyes. Iruka was standing over him, his back turned to the enemy. The giant shuriken was buried deep in Iruka's spine. Blood dripped from his mouth onto Naruto's forehead. Why? Naruto whimpered. Why did you save me? I'm the monster. Iruka smiled, blood staining his teeth. Tears ran down his face, mixing with the blood. Because, we're the same, Naruto. When I lost my parents, no one paid attention to me. I was the class clown. I acted like an idiot to get anyone to look at me. Because being ignored is worse than being hated. Iruka coughed, his knees shaking. I'm sorry, Naruto. I should have done more. You aren't the fox. You're Naruto Uzumaki of the Leaf Village. Something broke inside Naruto. It wasn't a bone. It was the dam holding back 12 years of pain, and something else woke up. The black book on his back slammed against his spine. It didn't just vibrate this time, it roared. A sound that only Naruto could hear, like a heavy iron door being dragged across stone. Naruto scrambled out from under Iruka as the teacher collapsed. He stood up. His head hung low, his hair shadowing his eyes. Mizuki, Naruto said. His voice sounded strange. It was layered. It sounded like two voices speaking at once, one human, one hollow. Mizuki laughed, though he looked uncertainly at the boy. What are you going to do? Cry. Naruto reached behind his back. He didn't grab the scroll of seals. He grabbed the grimoire. He pulled the book in front of him. It was floating. He wasn't holding it. It was hovering just above his open palm, suspended by a thick, dark energy that looked like black smoke mixed with red sparks. The book flew open. The pages whipped by in a frenzy, faster than the eye could follow. Whoosh. 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 It stopped. The page was dark gray. The symbol on it was a simple, jagged circle. Naruto felt the chakra leaving him again. But this time, he didn't fight it. He pushed it. He took the anger, the fear, the hatred for Mizuki, and he shoved it all into the book. You heard Iruka-sensei, Naruto whispered. I'll kill you both. Mizuki yelled, grabbing his second shuriken. He charged. Naruto didn't weave a sign. He didn't shout a jutsu name. He simply looked at the book, read the intent on the page, and screamed. Get away! He thrust his hand forward, palm open. The grimoire flashed black. Boom! The air in front of Naruto distorted. It wasn't wind. It was force. A solid wall of pure, concussive rejection erupted from the book. It hit Mizuki like a freight train. The Chunin didn't even have time to scream. The invisible hammer struck him in the chest, shattering his flak jacket instantly. He was launched backward, not 5 feet, not 10 feet, but 50 feet. He smashed through the trunk of a massive oak tree, splintering the wood into toothpicks, and continued flying until he slammed into a rock face, embedding himself into the stone. Silence returned to the clearing. Mizuki slid down the rock, unconscious, his bones likely pulverized. The black energy around the book dissipated. It fell out of the air, heavy again. Naruto caught it, his breathing ragged. His hands were burned red and raw, from the sheer output of power. He turned to look at Iruka. Iruka was staring at him, eyes wide with shock. He had seen many jutsu in his life. He had seen fireballs, water dragons, earth walls. He had never seen a boy shout at a book and blast a Chunin through a tree with invisible gravity. Naruto. Iruka wheezed. What was that? Naruto looked at the book in his hands. It was warm now. It felt content. I don't know, Naruto whispered. But it worked. An hour later, the sun was beginning to crest over the horizon. The ANBU had arrived, taken the broken body of Mizuki away, and escorted a limping Irika and a terrified Naruto to the Hokage tower. Naruto stood in the center of the office. The third Hokage, Hiruzen Sarutobi, sat behind his desk, his pipe in his mouth. He looked old. Tired. Irika stood to the side, bandaged heavily. On the desk sat the scroll of seals. And next to it, the grimoire. Hiruzen picked up the black book. He turned it over in his hands. He tried to open it. It wouldn't open. Curious, Hiruzen murmured. I cannot open it. It opens for me, Gramps, Naruto said quietly. He was afraid. He was waiting for them to take it away. To take his headband, which he didn't have yet, away. To throw him in jail. This book, Hiruzen said, looking at Naruto with sharp eyes. Where did you find it? In the library, Naruto said. In the dusty section with the chains. I tripped. Hiruzen sighed, exhaling a puff of smoke. The restricted archive. This book has been there for a very long time, Naruto. Since before the village was built. It was found in the ruins of the Whirlpool country, the home of the Uzumaki clan. Naruto perked up. Uzumaki? Like me? Yes, Hiruzen nodded. Your clan was known for their incredible life force and their mastery of sealing jutsu. They created tools of immense power. This appears to be one of them. Hiruzen set the book down. He looked at the crystal ball on his desk, replaying the scene he had watched earlier. The boy channeling raw chakra into the artifact. The devastating repulsive force. It wasn't ninjutsu. It wasn't genjutsu. It was something older. Crude, but effective. Naruto, Hiruzen said sternly. You stole the scroll of seals. That is a crime punishable by severe measures. Naruto flinched. I know. I'm sorry. I wanted to pass. However, Hiruzen continued, a glint in his eye. You also uncovered a traitor to the village, protected a teacher, and returned the scroll intact. Hiruzen stood up. He walked around the desk and picked up the grimoire. He handed it to Naruto. The book chose you, Naruto. It seems to feed on your chakra. Anyone else would likely die from the drain, but you are uniquely suited for it. Naruto took the book. It felt heavy, but right. So, I can keep it? It is your heritage, Hiruzen said. But be warned. That power is dangerous. If you lose control, it will consume you. Naruto nodded vigorously. I promise. I'll control it. Hiruzen looked at Irika. Well, Irika? Does he pass? Irika looked at Naruto. He looked at the determination in the boy's blue eyes. He looked at the heavy black book that looked like a demon's diary clutched in his hands. The exam, Irika said slowly, required the student to perform a clone jutsu. Naruto's face fell. But I can't. However, Irika interrupted, smiling. A ninja must also be able to use their tools effectively. Naruto. Yes? Can you do it again? Use the book? Naruto looked at the grimoire. He placed his hand on the cover. He didn't try to blast the room apart this time. He just wanted to show them. Sword, he thought. I need a weapon. The book rattled. It opened. Not to the black page of rejection, but to a page filled with drawings of iron. Naruto poured his chakra in. It flowed easier this time. Zzzzrt. Black sparks flew. From the open pages of the book, a handle emerged. It was rusted, pitted iron. Naruto grabbed it and pulled. With a grunt of effort, he dragged a sword out of the paper. It was a massive slab of iron, ancient and dull, covered in grime. It looked like a hunk of scrap metal shaped like a great sword. Naruto held it up. It was heavy, but he held it. I summoned a sword! Naruto yelled. Irika chuckled. He walked over, took off his own headband, and tied it around Naruto's forehead. Congratulations, Irika said softly. You graduate. Naruto froze. He touched the cold metal of the plate, the leaf symbol. Tears streamed down his face again, but this time, they weren't from sadness. He tackled Irika in a hug, the heavy iron sword clattering to the floor, the grimoire snapping shut and hovering at his hip like a faithful dog. "Thank you, Iruka-sensei." "Thank you?" As Hiruzen watched the celebration, he took a long drag from his pipe. He looked at the black book on the floor. He saw the 5-leaf clover on the cover. In the 3 leaves resides faith, hope, and love, Hiruzen thought, recalling an old rhyme. In the 4th leaf, good luck. In the 5th, resides a devil. He looked at Naruto, laughing and crying. Let us hope, Hiruzen mused, that he can make friends with his devils. The morning sun of Konoha was usually a welcome sight, a warm embrace that signaled the start of a new day. But for Naruto Uzumaki, the morning began not with warmth, but with a heavy, throbbing ache in his lower back and a sensation of cold emptiness in his stomach. He groaned, rolling over in his bed. His hand flopped out from under the blanket and hit something hard, cold, and metallic. Clang! Naruto cracked one blue eye open. There, sitting on his nightstand where a glass of water should have been, was the book, the grimoire. It sat there innocently enough, bathed in a shaft of morning light. Dust motes danced around it, but they didn't seem to settle on the cover. The black leather, stained with grease and age, looked almost liquid in the light. The 5-leaf clover on the cover seemed to be watching him. "You're a heavy sleeper," Naruto mumbled to the book, rubbing the sleep from his eyes. "And you're just heavy." He sat up and swung his legs over the side of the bed. As he stood, a wave of dizziness washed over him. He grabbed the nightstand for support. It was the same feeling he'd had yesterday after the incident with Mizuki, a subtle, lingering drain. It wasn't enough to kill him, or even stop him, but it was there. A constant tax. The 3rd Hokage had explained it, or at least tried to. The book was an artifact of the Uzumaki clan. It didn't use nature energy or hand signs. It ate raw chakra and converted it into, well, Naruto wasn't sure what yet. Yesterday it had been a blast of invisible force. Later, a rusted sword. Okay, Naruto sighed, stretching his arms until his spine popped. Today is the day. Team assignments. I'm a ninja now. I have a headband to prove it. He looked at the forehead protector sitting next to the book. The metal plate gleamed. He tied it around his forehead, grinning at his reflection in the cracked mirror. He looked the part. Orange jumpsuit? Check. Goggles now around his neck? Check. Headband? Check. He reached for the grimoire. He couldn't leave it behind. He felt a strange anxiety at the thought of being separated from it, like leaving a limb at home. He picked it up. Oof. It was heavier than yesterday. Or maybe he was just weaker before breakfast. He shoved the thick tome into the makeshift leather holster he had spent half the night sewing onto his belt. It hung heavily on his left hip, banging against his thigh. It made him walk with a slight limp, a thump-step rhythm. Just need to get used to it, he grunted, grabbing a cup of instant ramen. He poured hot water in, waited exactly 3 minutes, and slurped it down. The food helped. The chakra coils in his stomach warmed up, and the book on his hips seemed to vibrate contentedly, siphoning off the excess energy from the meal. "You're a pig," Naruto told the book. The book said nothing, but the cover seemed to gleam. The academy classroom was a chaotic sea of noise. Newly graduated genin were shouting, laughing, and comparing headbands. It was a day of triumph. When Naruto walked in, the room went quiet for a split second. It wasn't the usual silence of disdain, though that was there, lurking in the corners of eyes. It was confusion. Naruto Uzumaki, the class clown, the dead last, was wearing a headband, and more noticeably, he was carrying a book that looked like it had been dug up from a grave. He walked to his usual seat, the heavy thud of the grimoire hitting the desk causing Shikamaru Nara to crack one eye open. "What a drag," Shikamaru drawled, resting his chin on his hand. "Since when do you read, Naruto? And why does that book smell like old motor oil and rust?" "It's not for reading, Shikamaru," Naruto said proudly, patting the cover. "It's my secret weapon. The old man Hokage gave it to me." "Hokage gave you a dirty book?" Kiba Inuzuka laughed from the row below, Akamaru barking in agreement. "Did he run out of toilet paper?" "Shut up, breath. Naruto snapped. "This thing is gonna make me Hokage." "You'll see. If you say so," Kiba scoffed, turning back to brag about his own skills. Naruto sat down, ignoring them. He looked around. Sakura Haruno was standing near the window, chatting animatedly with Ino. Naruto felt a pang in his chest. He wanted to tell her about the book, about how he saved Irika-sensei, but he knew she wouldn't believe him. Then, his eyes fell on Sasuke Uchiha. The dark-haired boy was sitting alone, hands clasped in front of his face, staring at the chalkboard. He was the only one who hadn't looked at Naruto when he entered. Naruto frowned. He thinks he's so cool. Suddenly Sasuke's head turned. His black eyes locked onto the grimoire sitting on Naruto's desk. He didn't look at Naruto's face. He looked solely at the book. Sasuke's gaze was intense, analytical. He narrowed his eyes slightly, as if he could sense the faint, dark aura radiating from the leather. Then, just as quickly, Sasuke looked away. He noticed, Naruto thought. He knows it's not just a book. All right, settle down. Irika-sensei walked in, clutching a clipboard. He looked tired, and he was leaning slightly on a cane, his legs still bandaged from the night before. But he smiled when he saw Naruto. Congratulations to everyone, Irika announced. From today on, you are all official ninja. But you are still genin. The journey has just begun. You will be assigned to 3-man squads, led by a Jonin commander. The class held its breath. Team 7 Irika read. Naruto Uzumaki. Naruto perked up. Sakura Haruno. Naruto cheered, throwing his arms up. Yes, Sakura groaned, her head hitting the desk. I'm doomed. And Sasuke Uchiha. Naruto froze. Sakura shot up, cheering. True love prevails. Naruto slumped. Why do I have to be with him? Because Sasuke had the second best scores in the class, Irika explained patiently. And you, Naruto, had the lowest. We balanced the teams to create equal ability. Lowest? Naruto grumbled, petting the grimoire. Wait until they see what we can do. 3 hours later, Naruto was ready to eat the book. Every other team had been picked up. Irika had left. The classroom was empty except for Team 7. He's late! Naruto yelled, pacing back and forth. The grimoire slapped against his leg with every turn. Why is our teacher the only one who's late? Sit down, Naruto, Sakura snapped. You're making me dizzy. And stop dragging that heavy thing around, you're scratching the floor. Sasuke sat silently, but his fingers were tapping rhythmically on the desk. He was annoyed too. I'm going to teach him a lesson, Naruto declared. He grabbed the chalkboard eraser, wedged it between the sliding door and the frame, and dusted his hands off. That's what he gets. Our teacher is a Jonin, Sasuke said, finally speaking. An elite ninja. Do you really think a cheap prank like that is going to work? Yeah, Naruto, Sakura added, though her eyes were gleaming with anticipation. You're so childish. A hand gripped the door. Naruto held his breath. The door slid open. A man with silver gravity-defying hair, a mask covering half his face, and a headband covering his left eye poked his head in. Plunk! The eraser fell. It hit the man square on the head. A cloud of white chalk dust poofed into the air, coating his spiky silver hair in white powder. Silence. Naruto burst out laughing. I got him! I got him! Did you see that face? Sasuke looked stunned. He actually fell for it. Sakura feigned shock. I'm so sorry, sensei. I told him not to do it. The Jonin picked up the eraser from the floor. He dusted it off, then looked at the three of them with a singular, visible dead fish eye. The man said. How do I put this? My first impression of you guys. I hate you. The mood plummeted. Meet me on the roof, the man said. Then, in a swirl of leaves, he vanished. The wind on the rooftop was brisk. The village of Konoha spread out below them, a sprawling maze of green and brown. The silver-haired Jonin sat on the railing, reading a small orange book. Naruto squinted at it. It looked like the Ika series. He had seen Jiraiya, the creepy sage he sometimes saw peeping at the bathhouse, reading that. All right, the Jonin said, putting the book away. Why don't you introduce yourselves? Likes, dislikes, dreams for the future, hobbies, that sort of thing. Why don't you go first, sensei? Naruto asked. You look suspicious. Me? The man pointed to himself. I'm Kakashi Hatake. Things I like and things I hate. I don't feel like telling you that. My dreams for the future, never really thought about it. As for my hobbies, I have lots of hobbies. That was useless, Sakura muttered. All we learned was his name. Okay, you first, Kakashi pointed at Naruto. The one with the library on his hip. Naruto adjusted his headband. I'm Naruto Uzumaki. I like instant ramen, and the ramen Irika-sensei buys me at a Chiraka noodle shop. I hate the 3 minutes you have to wait for the water to boil, and my dream. He paused. Usually, he would scream about becoming Hokage. And he still wanted that. But his hand drifted to the textured cover of the grimoire. My dream is to become the greatest ninja ever, and to master this book so everyone in the village has to acknowledge me. I'm going to be strong enough that no one looks at me like I'm nothing. Kakashi's eye lingered on the black book. He recognized the crest. 5-leaf clover, and that iron binding. An artifact from the land of whirlpools. The third mentioned he gave the boy a catalyst. Interesting. Okay. Next, I'm Sakura Haruno. Sakura beamed. What I like, or rather, who I like is... She glanced at Sasuke and giggled. My dream for the future is... Another squeal. And I hate... Naruto. Naruto slumped. Ah, and finally, Sasuke sat forward. The air seemed to cool down. My name is Sasuke Uchiha. I hate a lot of things, and I don't particularly like anything. What I have is not a dream, because I will make it a reality. I'm going to restore my clan, and kill a certain man. The silence was heavy. Sakura looked worried. Naruto looked confused. Kakashi just nodded, his expression unreadable. Good. A revolutionary, a lovesick puppy, and a demon vessel with a cursed book. This is going to be a headache. Good, Kakashi said cheerfully. You're all unique. We'll start our first mission tomorrow. What kind of mission? Naruto asked excitedly. Survival training. Survival training? Sakura asked. But we did that in the academy. We're already genin. This is different, Kakashi said, his voice dropping an octave. Of the 27 graduates, only 9 will actually become genin. The other 18 will be sent back to the academy. The dropout rate is over 66%. What? All 3 screamed. That's crazy. Naruto yelled. I worked so hard to get this headband. I fought Mizuki. I summoned a sword. Summoning a sword doesn't make you a ninja, Kakashi said coldly. Using it does. Meet me at the designated training ground at 5 a.m. And bring your ninja tools. He turned to leave, then paused. Oh, and one more thing. Don't eat breakfast. He looked back, his eye curving into a terrifying smile. You'll throw up. 5 a.m. was dark. It was cold. And Naruto was starving. His stomach rumbled, a sound that echoed in the empty training ground. Sasuke and Sakura were there, looking equally miserable. They waited, and waited. The sun rose. The birds started singing. The dew evaporated, and they waited. By the time Kakashi appeared in a puff of smoke, the sun was high in the sky. It was nearly 10 a.m. Yo, Kakashi waved. Sorry I'm late. I got lost on the road of life. Liar! Sakura and Naruto screamed in unison. Kakashi ignored them and walked over to a wooden post. He placed an alarm clock on it and set it for noon. Then, he pulled out 2 small silver bells attached to red strings. He jingled them. Here's the deal, Kakashi said. You have until noon to take these bells from me. If you don't get a bell by the time the alarm rings, you get no lunch. I'll tie you to those posts and eat my lunch right in front of you. Naruto's stomach let out a monstrous roar. The grimoire on his hip vibrated, hungry for chakra since Naruto hadn't eaten to replenish his reserves. But wait, Sakura said, counting. There are only 2 bells. And there are 3 of us. Correct, Kakashi said. At least one of you will end up tied to the post and sent back to the academy. It might be one of you, it might be 2, it might be all 3. You can use your shuriken, your kunai, and your book, Naruto. Kakashi eyed the heavy tome. If you don't come at me with the intent to kill, you won't get a bell. But you're a jonin, Sakura said. You'll get hurt. Yeah, you're the one who got hit by a chalkboard eraser. Naruto laughed. I'm going to knock you out and take those bells. Naruto drew a kunai. He channeled chakra into his legs. He was faster now, thanks to the constant physical training of carrying the book. Ready, Kakashi said. The tension spiked. Start! Sasuke and Sakura vanished instantly, leaping into the bushes to hide. That was the first rule of ninja combat, concealment. Naruto remained standing right where he was. Kakashi blinked. You know, you're a little weird compared to the others. The only thing weird here is your haircut. Naruto yelled. He charged. He wasn't fast. The book slapped against his thigh, throwing off his balance. He lunged with the kunai, aiming for Kakashi's vest. Kakashi didn't even look up from his orange book. He sidestepped Naruto's thrust, caught Naruto's wrist, and twisted. Gah! Naruto yelped. Kakashi put a hand on the back of Naruto's head. Don't be so hasty. I didn't say start. Oh wait, I did. Naruto twisted out of the grip and swung a kick. Kakashi ducked effortlessly. Naruto tried to spin, but the weight of the grimoire pulled his center of gravity to the left. He stumbled. Kakashi appeared behind him. He formed the tiger seal. This is it, Sakura thought from the bushes. Fire style? Hidden leaf secret finger jutsu. Kakashi shouted. 1,000 years of death. He thrust his fingers toward Naruto's backside. Naruto's eyes widened. He couldn't dodge. The book was dragging him down. But as Kakashi's fingers approached, the grimoire reacted to Naruto's spike of panic. It didn't open. It simply became dense. A sudden pulse of gravity radiated from Naruto's hip. Kakashi's fingers stopped an inch from impact, hitting a wall of invisible pressure. What? Kakashi thought, his eye widening. An automated defense? Taking advantage of Kakashi's surprise, Naruto scrambled forward, falling into the stream. Damn it! Naruto sputtered, surfacing. That book is heavy. A ninja tool shouldn't be a burden, Naruto. Kakashi called out from the bank, reading his book again. If you can't carry the weight, maybe you shouldn't be a ninja. Naruto gritted his teeth. He climbed out of the water, shivering. The grimoire was soaking wet, but the water rolled off the strange leather-like oil. I'm not done yet, Naruto yelled. Then come and get it. The next hour was a humiliation. Naruto tried everything. He tried traps, Kakashi stepped over them. He tried attacking from the trees, he fell. He even tried the sexy jutsu. Kakashi got a nosebleed but still blocked the attack. Meanwhile, Sasuke made his move. He launched a barrage of shuriken, followed by a fireball jutsu that actually impressed Kakashi. But in the end, Kakashi buried Sasuke in the ground up to his neck. Sakura fell into a genjutsu and fainted. It was 11:45 a.m. Naruto was panting, standing in the middle of the clearing. He was bruised, soaked, and exhausted. His chakra was low. The grimoire felt heavier than ever, like a lead anchor chained to his soul. Kakashi stood across from him, spinning a bell on his finger. You look tired, Naruto, Kakashi said. Your friends are beaten. You're the only one left standing, and you can barely stand. You rely on that book, but you don't even know how to use it, do you? Naruto glared at him. Shut up. It's just dead weight, Kakashi taunted. Just like you were in the academy. Dead last. A failure. Naruto's hands clenched into fists. The words cut deep. They sounded like the villagers. They sounded like the whispers. I said. Naruto's voice trembled. He grabbed the grimoire. He ripped it off his belt. Shut up. Naruto slammed the book onto the ground in front of him. But instead of letting it go, he placed both hands on the cover. I'm not a failure, he screamed. And this isn't dead weight. He poured everything he had into it. His frustration. His hunger. His desire to be seen, the book responded. It didn't just rattle this time. It shrieked. A high-pitched, metallic keening sound filled the clearing, forcing Kakashi to cover his ears. The 5-leaf clover on the cover glowed a sickly, rusty red. The book flipped open. The pages blurred, stopping on a page that looked like a sketch of a battlefield. Iron. Rust. Cut. Cleave. Naruto reached into the book. His hand disappeared into the page as if it were water. He grabbed something. Kakashi dropped his orange book. He sensed the chakra shift. It wasn't normal chakra. It was anti-chakra. It felt cold and static-filled. HAA. Naruto heaved. He pulled. From the small book, a handle emerged. Then a cross guard. Then a blade. A massive, thick, rusted slab of iron that was taller than Naruto himself. It was the same sword he had summoned for Irika, but now, fueled by his anger, it looked darker. Sharp black energy crackled along the rusted edge. The Demon Dweller sword. Naruto didn't lift it with muscles. The chakra connecting him to the book acted like a pulley system, allowing him to hoist the massive weapon onto his shoulder. The ground beneath his feet cracked from the weight. Kakashi narrowed his eye. That sword, it's practically oozing ominous energy. I can't block that with a kunai. Here I come, sensei! Naruto roared. He charged. He wasn't faster this time, but he had momentum. He swung the massive sword horizontally. Kakashi leaped back. The sword passed through the air where he had been standing. The wind pressure alone sheared the top off a nearby bush. Fast. For that size, it's incredibly fast. Kakashi landed and threw 3 shuriken. Naruto didn't dodge. He swung the sword back to block. Clang! The shuriken hit the flat of the rusted blade and shattered. Not deflected, shattered. What? Kakashi muttered. It destroys the metal? Shadow clone jutsu. Naruto yelled. Wait. Naruto couldn't do shadow clones, but the book could mimic. Black ooze leaked from the spine of the grimoire, forming a puddle on the ground. From the puddle, a dark, shadowy silhouette of Naruto rose up. It didn't have a face, just glowing white eyes. The shadow Naruto lunged at Kakashi, grabbing his legs. A clone? Kakashi kicked the shadow, but his foot passed right through it. It was viscous, sticky. It held him in place. Gotcha! Real Naruto yelled, leaping into the air. He brought the massive rusted sword down in an overhead smash. Kakashi couldn't move his legs. The shadow bind was strong. I have to use it. Kakashi reached up and lifted his headband. The spinning red eye, the Sharingan, snapped open. He analyzed the sword in a millisecond. No chakra signature in the blade. It's pure physical matter reinforced by negation energy. If I use a standard block, it will break my bones. Kakashi slammed his hands onto the ground. Earth-style. Mud wall. A thick wall of stone erupted from the ground between him and Naruto, reinforced with Kakashi's Jonin-level chakra. It was hard as diamond. The rusted sword hit the wall. There was no crash. There was a sound like tearing paper. The black energy coating the sword chewed through the earth chakra. The stone wall didn't crumble. It dissolved. The sword sliced cleanly through the defense as if it weren't there. Kakashi's eye widened in genuine shock. It nullifies the ninjutsu? The blade continued its arc, aiming straight for Kakashi's head. Kakashi abandoned dignity. He threw himself backward, rolling across the grass, narrowly avoiding decapitation. Boom! The sword slammed into the ground where Kakashi had been. The impact created a crater 10 feet wide. Dust and dirt exploded into the air. Silence fell over the training ground. Sasuke, watching from his hole in the ground, had his mouth open. That power, that wasn't ninjutsu. That was pure destruction. The dust cleared. Naruto stood in the center of the crater, breathing heavily. The massive sword was stuck in the ground. The black markings on his skin receded. The shadow clone dissolved into a puddle of ink and sucked back into the book. Naruto's legs shook. His eyes rolled back. Did I get him? He whispered. He let go of the sword handle. The weapon dissolved into rust flakes and vanished back into the grimoire. Naruto collapsed face first into the dirt. Re-thying! The alarm clock went off. It was noon. Naruto woke up to the smell of food. He opened his eyes. He was tied to a wooden post. Next to him, Sasuke and Sakura were also tied up. Wait, no, Sasuke and Sakura were sitting on the ground with bento boxes. Naruto was the only one tied. Kakashi stood in front of them. He looked perfectly fine, though his flak jacket had a small cut on the shoulder strap. Oh, Naruto mumbled. You guys, Kakashi said, his voice dark. I'm disappointed. Naruto hung his head. I failed, didn't I? I passed out. Naruto, Kakashi said, stepping closer. You nearly took my head off. If I hadn't moved, I'd be dead. Sorry, Naruto said, though a small part of him felt proud. However, Kakashi turned to the others. Sasuke went off on his own. Sakura focused only on Sasuke and ignored Naruto. And Naruto, well, you tried to turn me into a shish kebab, Kakashi sighed. You guys don't get it. You think ninjutsu is about power. About swords and fireballs. He walked over to the memorial stone. Look at this stone. The names on here are heroes. I want my name on there. Naruto yelled. They're dead, Naruto, Kakashi said softly. Killed in action. The mood grew somber. This test wasn't about bells, Kakashi said. It was about teamwork. A ninja who breaks the rules is scum. But a ninja who abandons his friends is worse than scum. He looked at Naruto, then at the grimoire sitting on the ground nearby. Naruto, that book gives you power. But it drains you. You passed out because you have no limits. You need teammates to cover you when you fall. Sasuke, Sakura, you need to be there to catch him. Kakashi picked up 2 bento boxes. I'm going to give you one more chance. Eat lunch. Build your strength. We'll try again in the afternoon. But, he narrowed his eye, don't give any food to Naruto. It's his punishment for trying to kill me. Kakashi vanished. Sasuke and Sakura opened their boxes. The smell of rice and eggs wafted to Naruto's nose. His stomach growled so loudly it shook the post. It's fine, Naruto lied, tears in his eyes. I can go days without eating. I'm fine, Sasuke sighed. He looked around to make sure Kakashi wasn't there. Then, he held out his box. Here. Naruto blinked. Huh, eat, Sasuke said. Don't make a big deal out of it, but Kakashi-sensei said. Sakura started. If Naruto is starving, he'll be useless in the next fight, Sasuke said pragmatically. And frankly, that sword thing was cool. We might need it. Sakura looked at Naruto. She sighed, then held out her own box. Just take a bite, idiot. Before he comes back. Naruto's eyes watered. You guys. He leaned forward to take a bite from Sakura's chopsticks. Poof. Kakashi appeared in a whirlwind of smoke, a thunderstorm brewing behind him. You guys. He roared. You broke the rules, Sakura shrieked. Naruto choked on the rice. Sasuke reached for a kunai. Kakashi stared at them, his eye menacing. Then, slowly, the cloud cleared. The eye curved into a crescent shape. You pass. Silence. Huh! Naruto mumbled with a mouthful of rice. You pass, Kakashi repeated cheerfully. In the ninja world, those who break the rules are scum. But those who abandon their friends are worse than scum. You guys fed him. You prioritized the team over the rules. He gave them a thumbs up. Team 7 starts its first mission tomorrow. Yeah! Naruto cheered, struggling against the ropes. I did it! I'm a ninja! Kakashi walked over and cut the ropes. Naruto fell to the ground. He immediately scrambled to pick up the grimoire. Naruto, Kakashi said, his voice serious again. Yeah, sensei? That book, Kakashi pointed. It's dangerous. It eats your chakra to create matter. Today, you summoned a sword that can cut through ninjutsu. That's a terrifying ability. But if you rely on it too much, it will eat your life force. Kakashi crouched down. You have massive chakra reserves, likely due to your lineage. But even you have limits. Use the book as a partner, not a crutch. Understand? Naruto looked at the dirty, 5-leaf clover book. He felt the cold connection to it. It wasn't just a tool. It felt like it was part of him. A dark, hungry part, but a part nonetheless. I understand, Naruto said, grinning. We're going to be the best team ever, Kakashi sighed, scratching his head. Well, let's go home. I'm treating you to ramen. Ramen! Naruto sprinted off, the heavy book banging against his leg, the pain forgotten. Sasuke watched him go. He thought about the sword. He thought about the black energy. He's stronger than he looks, Sasuke thought. I can't fall behind. Sasuke followed. Sakura ran after Sasuke. Kakashi watched them leave, the sunset casting long shadows. The 5-leaf clover grimoire, Kakashi thought. The book of the anti-magic demon. To think the boy would bond with that. This generation is going to be interesting. The mid-afternoon sun beat down on the village of Konoha, baking the dusty streets and reflecting off the metal headbands of its defenders. For Team 7, however, the heat was the least of their problems. Target acquired, Sasuke's voice crackled over the radio, cool and professional. Distance 5 meters. It hasn't noticed me. Roger that, Kakashi replied, his voice lazy and sounding like he was reading while walking. Sakura? I'm in position, Sensei, Sakura whispered, crouched behind a wooden fence. Target is moving south. Naruto? There was a pause. Then, a loud clattering sound echoed through the comms, followed by a heavy thud. Oh! Damn it! Naruto's voice broke the stealth protocol entirely. This stupid book got caught on a tree branch. Naruto! Sakura hissed into her microphone. You're going to spook the target. I'm trying. Naruto yelled back, his voice no longer needing the radio to be heard. But Tora is fast, and this grimoire weighs a ton. In the alleyway below, the target, a cat with a ribbon in its ear, froze. It turned its head, eyes narrowing at the orange-clad boy untangling a heavy, black iron-bound book from a low-hanging branch. The cat hissed, turned, and bolted. It's running! Sasuke shouted, abandoning stealth. Get it! Kakashi ordered. The chase was short but chaotic. Sasuke used his speed to cut off the escape route. Sakura threw a precise pebble to steer the cat away from a drain. And Naruto? Naruto simply acted as the wall. He stumbled out of the bushes, the grimoire banging heavily against his hip. The cat leaped straight at him, claws extended. Whoa! Naruto flinched, raising his arms. The grimoire, sensing the incoming projectile, or perhaps just the hostility of the feline, reacted. It didn't open, but a low hum of repulsion vibrated from the cover. The cat hit an invisible cushion of air a foot away from Naruto's chest, bounced off harmlessly, and landed in a dazed heap. Naruto blinked. Gotcha? He scooped up the cat, which was now too confused by the anti-magic bump to scratch him. Mission complete, Kakashi sighed over the radio. Meet back at the Hokage's office. And Naruto, try to figure out how to turn that thing off. The Hokage's office was cool, smelling of pipe smoke and old paper. The third Hokage sat behind his desk, looking over a scroll while Tora the cat was being squeezed nearly to death by the daimyo's wife. My poor little Tora! The woman squealed, crushing the feline into her ample bosom. That cat has the eyes of a killer, Naruto muttered, rubbing his chest where the book had reacted. He adjusted the heavy leather strap that held the grimoire to his belt. It was becoming a part of him, a constant, grounding weight, but on days like today, it felt like carrying a tombstone. Well then, Hiruzen Sarutobi said, suppressing a smile as he looked at Team 7. For your next mission, we have babysitting the counselor's son, digging potatoes in the outskirts, or... No! Naruto crossed his arms, forming an X. No more cats. No more potatoes. I want a real mission. Something where I can use this. He slapped the cover of the grimoire. It let out a dull, metallic sound, like a bell tolling deep underwater. Irika, who was organizing papers nearby, looked up sternly. Naruto! You're just a genin. You have to start with the basics to build experience. But I have an ancient artifact of doom. Naruto argued, pointing at his hip. You don't use a cannon to kill a mosquito, Irika-sensei. It's insulting to the book. Kakashi stepped forward, scratching the back of his head. He has a point, Lord Hokage. His equipment isn't exactly suited for subtle D-rank tasks. It tends to break the garden hose and scare the pets. Hiruzen puffed on his pipe, the smoke curling into shapes that vaguely resembled the leaf symbol. He looked at Naruto. The boy's eyes were burning with that familiar fire, the will of fire, mixed with a desperate need to prove his worth. And then there was the book. The 5-leaf clover, an item of immense, chaotic power that seemed to have chosen the village's most chaotic ninja. Very well, Hiruzen said. Naruto's eyes lit up. Really? I will assign you a C-rank mission, Hiruzen announced. You will be bodyguards. Bodyguards? Naruto pumped his fist. For who? A princess? A feudal lord? Not quite, Hiruzen said. Bring him in. The door slid open, and a man stumbled in. He was older, smelling of cheap sake and salt water. He wore a towel around his neck and carried a half-empty bottle. He peered at the team through hazy, drunken eyes. "What's this?" the man grumbled, taking a swig. "A bunch of snot-nosed brats. And the short one with the stupid face. Looks like he's carrying a dictionary. Is he going to read the bandits to death?" Naruto looked around. "Who's the short one with the stupid face?" Sasuke and Sakura looked at Naruto. "I'll kill him." Naruto lunged, but Kakashi grabbed him by the collar. The grimoire swung dangerously, nearly taking out a potted plant. "I am Tazuna," the man said, ignoring Naruto's rage. "I am a master bridge builder. I need to return to my country, the land of waves, to finish a bridge that will save my people. You will protect me until I get there. Even if you have to sacrifice your lives." "Land of waves?" Sakura asked. "That's outside the Fire Nation. An escort mission outside the village," Sasuke noted, a hint of interest in his voice. "All right." Naruto cheered, forgetting the insult. "My first step to global fame. Come on, book, let's go." He patted the grimoire. For a second, the grime-covered clover seemed to pulse. It was hungry. The village was safe. The village was saturated with familiar, calm chakra. The outside world. That was where the wild mana lived. The journey from Konoha began uneventfully. The weather was mild, the road well-traveled. But for Naruto, every step was training. Kakashi walked in the back, reading his orange book. Sakura walked near Tazuna, asking polite questions about the land of waves. Sasuke walked point, alert and silent. Naruto walked in the middle, his head buried in the grimoire. Since the Bell test, he had learned that the book wasn't just a weapon storage unit. It was trying to teach him. But the language wasn't Japanese. It wasn't even human. "It looks like scratches," Naruto muttered, squinting at page 7. "But they're moving." "Stop muttering, Naruto," Sasuke said from the front, not turning around. "You're distracting." "I'm not muttering, I'm deciphering," Naruto snapped. "Look right here. This symbol. It looks like a twisted spoon. But when I get angry, it looks like a sword. And when I'm hungry, it looks like a bowl of ramen." "It's a picture book for idiots," Sasuke scoffed. "It's emotional resonance," Kakashi said from the back, not looking up. The Uzumaki clan often used seals that shifted based on the intent of the user. It's a security measure. If an enemy steals the book, they can't read the spells unless they feel the specific emotion required to unlock them. Naruto looked back at the page. He tried to focus. He thought about protecting Tazuna. He thought about stopping a bandit. The scratches shifted. The ink bled across the page, forming a shape that looked like a jagged wall. "Repel." The word echoed in his mind, not as sound, but as an impulse. "Push away the harm." "Cool," Naruto whispered. "It's like it's talking to my gut." They passed a small puddle on the road. It hadn't rained in days, yet the puddle was fresh. Naruto walked past it, distracted by the book. Sasuke walked past it. Sakura and Tazuna walked past it. Kakashi didn't. But he pretended to. Suddenly, the puddle erupted. Two figures, connected by a razor-sharp chain, burst from the water. They wore gas masks and a mist headband. "One down!" one of them hissed. They wrapped the chain around Kakashi and pulled. Ryup. Kakashi was torn to pieces. "Kakashi-sensei!" Sakura screamed. Naruto froze. His brain couldn't process it. The strongest ninja he knew had just been turned into confetti. The two attackers didn't stop. They appeared behind Naruto. "Two down," the second brother growled. Their claws raised, the chains swinging to decapitate the boy. Naruto turned, eyes wide. The scent of blood and swamp water hit him. He saw the metal claw descending. Panic. Pure, cold panic. "Move! Run! Hide!" His mind screamed, but his body was locked. However, the grimoire was not locked. It was strapped to his hip, directly against his chakra network. It felt the spike of adrenaline. It felt the terror. Protect. The book slammed open of its own accord. It didn't flip pages. It burst open to the center. Hum. A shockwave of black, static energy exploded from Naruto's waist. It wasn't the directed blast he had used on Mizuki. This was a bubble. A semi-transparent sphere of anti-chakra expanded instantly, covering Naruto and Tazuna. The chain hit the black sphere. Clang zzrt. The metal didn't break, but the chakra infusing the attack, the energy making the swing superhumanly fast, was nullified instantly. The chain lost all momentum and dropped limp against the black barrier, sliding to the ground. The demon brothers' eyes widened behind their masks. What the? My chakra flow cut off, the barrier flickered and died, the burst of energy exhausted. But it had bought time. Naruto, duck! Sasuke was in the air. He threw a shuriken that pinned the chain to a tree, then landed on the brothers' gauntlets. With a precise kick to both their faces, he unlinked the chain. Sakura, guard Tazuna! Sasuke ordered, landing in front of Naruto. Naruto, stop spacing out! Naruto was breathing hard, clutching the book. The leather was hot. I didn't do that. It did it. One of the brothers, recovering from Sasuke's kick, lunged for Tazuna. Die, builder! Sakura stood in front of Tazuna, holding a kunai with shaking hands. Before the claw could reach her, a hand grabbed the attacker's neck. Kakashi, alive and whole, stepped out from behind a tree. The dead Kakashi turned into a pile of wooden logs. Substitution jutsu. Yo, Kakashi said, his eye curving into a cold smile. Nice teamwork, Sasuke. Sakura, good positioning. And Naruto. Kakashi looked at the boy, who was staring at his book in bewilderment. Nice reflexes. Or rather, nice artifact. The attackers were tied up against a tree moments later. Chunin from the hidden mist, Kakashi noted, examining their headbands. Known for keep fighting no matter the cost. Which means, he turned to Tazuna. The bridge builder was sweating profusely. They were after you, Tazuna. This isn't a C-rank mission, is it? We're dealing with ninja combatants. Tazuna sighed, his shoulders slumping. I have no money. The land of waves is poor. A man named Gato controls everything, the shipping, the trade, the lives. If the bridge is finished, he loses control. He wants me dead. Gato? Kakashi frowned. The shipping magnate? This is a B-rank, possibly A-rank mission. We aren't equipped for this. Naruto is a fresh genin. I can do it! Naruto yelled, stepping forward. He was trembling, but his fists were clenched. I froze up for a second, yeah. But the book protected us. I can fight. It's not about the book, Naruto, Kakashi said sternly. It's about the enemy. These were just grunts. If Gato is involved, he'll hire Jonin-level assassins. Elite killers. If we go back, Tazuna said quietly, I die. And my grandson will cry. And my daughter will live in misery. Kakashi looked at the guilt-tripping old man. He looked at his team. Sasuke looked eager for a challenge. Sakura looked terrified but determined not to be left behind. And Naruto. Naruto was caressing the spine of the grimoire, whispering to it. We'll show them, right? No more freezing, Kakashi sighed. Fine. We continue. The boat ride was silent. The mist was thick, a white blanket that obscured the world. The only sound was the gentle splash of the oar. Naruto sat at the bow of the small boat, peering into the fog. The grimoire was vibrating. It was a low, constant buzz against his leg, like an angry hornet in a jar. It hates this place, Naruto whispered to Sakura. Hates what? Sakura whispered back, hugging her knees. The mist, Naruto said. The book. It feels prickly. Like static electricity. The mist is infused with chakra, Kakashi explained softly. Kirigakure ninja use it to blind sensors. But your book feeds on chakra, Naruto. It's sensing the food in the air. It's hungry? Naruto looked at the 5-leaf clover. Don't eat the air, you weirdo. Suddenly, the massive bridge loomed out of the fog, unfinished but majestic. They docked and began the trek through the woods toward Tazuna's house. The tension was palpable. Naruto kept looking around, throwing kunai into bushes. There! A ninja! Thwack! It was a rabbit, you idiot! Sakura yelled. A snow rabbit. Wait, Kakashi said, stopping. A snow rabbit? In spring? That rabbit has been raised indoors for substitution jutsu. Duck! Kakashi shouted. He shoved the 3 genin to the ground. Whoosh! A massive object spun through the air just inches above their heads. It was a sword, no, a cleaver. 7 feet long, heavy iron, spinning like a windmill of death. It slammed into a tree trunk with a thunderous thud, burying itself deep in the wood. A man landed on the hilt of the sword. He was tall, shirtless, with bandages covering his mouth and a forehead protector worn sideways. He radiated an aura so cold, so heavy with bloodlust, that the air itself seemed to freeze. Zabuza Momochi, the demon of the hidden mist. Well, well, Zabuza rasped, his voice like gravel. Kakashi of the Sharingan. And, a bunch of brats. Naruto tried to stand, but his knees shook. The killing intent. It was paralyzed. It felt like Zabuza was holding a knife to his throat from 50 feet away. But then, the grimoire slammed against Naruto's hip. Thump. It wasn't a vibration. It was a heartbeat. A violent, aggressive pulse. The book didn't fear the killing intent. It recognized it. It recognized the predator, and the entity inside the book, the anti-magic devil, or whatever it was, didn't like being the second scariest thing in the clearing. The heat from the book burned Naruto's side, snapping him out of his fear paralysis. Hey! Naruto yelled, pointing a shaking finger. Who do you think you are, standing on a sword like that? It's bad for the edge, Zabuza chuckled. The loud one has spirit. But can he back it up? Manji formation. Kakashi ordered, lifting his headband to reveal the spinning Sharingan eye. Protect Tazuna. Do not join the fight. That is an order. Copy Ninja Kakashi, Zabuza said, grabbing the hilt of his Kubikari Bocho. I'm honored. But I'll be taking the old man. Zabuza yanked the massive sword from the tree. He vanished. He's on the water. Sasuke yelled. The battle that followed was a blur of high-level ninjutsu. Water dragons rose from the lake, crashing into earth walls. Mist covered everything. The sound of metal clashing rang out. Team 7 stood frozen around Tazuna. Naruto held the grimoire in his hands now, treating it like a shield. Where is he? Sakura whimpered. Behind you! Kakashi yelled. But it was too late for Kakashi. He had been lured. Zabuza appeared behind him, not to strike, but to trap. Water prison jutsu. A sphere of dense, heavy water entrapped Kakashi. The Jonin struggled, but he was suspended, unable to breathe or move. Zabuza held his hand inside the sphere, maintaining the jutsu. Game over, Zabuza laughed. I have your teacher. Now, I'll finish the builder and the brats. Zabuza raised his free hand. Water rose up and formed the clone. The clone picked up the massive executioner's sword, or a water copy of it. Run! Kakashi's muffled voice came from the sphere. Take Tazuna and run! You can't beat him. Naruto looked at Kakashi. He looked at Tazuna. Run? Again? Like he ran from the villagers? Like he ran from loneliness? The water clone charged. Sasuke stepped forward to intercept, but the clone was too strong. It kicked Sasuke in the stomach, sending him flying into a rock. It backhanded Sakura when she threw a kunai. It turned to Naruto. You're the last one, kid, the clone sneered. Drop the book and die. Naruto looked down at the grimoire. It was open. The pages were flipping frantically, agitated by the sheer amount of water chakra in the air. In the canon of the ninja world, Naruto would use the Shadow Shuriken transformation. He would work with Sasuke. But Naruto didn't have clones. He couldn't transform into a shuriken. His chakra control was too chaotic, and the book interfered with delicate molding. He only had the book. And the book only knew how to do two things: hit things with iron, and negate magic. I promised, Naruto whispered. I promised I wouldn't run. He felt the pain in his hand, the wound he had made earlier to swear an oath. Sasuke! Naruto yelled. Sasuke groaned, trying to stand up. What? I need time! Naruto shouted. 5 seconds. Keep that clone off me, you idiot, Sasuke gritted his teeth. 5 seconds is an eternity against this guy. But Sasuke moved. He charged the clone again, throwing shuriken, using his speed to be a nuisance. Naruto placed the grimoire on the ground. He knelt before it. Okay, Naruto said to the book. I need something. Not a sword. I can't reach him with a sword. I need to hit him there. He pointed at the real Zabuza, standing on the water, holding the prison. I need to shoot him. The book rattled. The pages turned to a section that was stained dark red. Power. Need power. The demand was clear. To project the anti-magic energy over a distance, it needed fuel. More fuel than Naruto's exhausted body had right now. Take it, Naruto growled. He closed his eyes and searched inside himself. Deep down. Past the fatigue. Into the sewer where the cage was. He tugged on the red chakra. The Kyuubi's chakra flooded his system. His eyes snapped open, slits of red. His whiskers thickened. He placed his hands on the open pages. ZZZZZRT. The reaction was violent. The red chakra met the black book. Usually, they would conflict, but the book was a tool of the Uzumaki. It was designed to handle beasts. It filtered the corrosive hatred of the Nine Tails, stripping away the mind-breaking rage and leaving only the raw, volatile power. A sphere of energy formed above the book. It wasn't black. It was a bubbling, boiling red-black sludge. It looked like lava made of shadows. What is that chakra? Zabuza's eyes widened, sensing the spike. The air smelled of sulfur and foxfire. Move, Sasuke! Naruto roared. Sasuke dove aside. Naruto grabbed the sphere of energy. It burned his hands, but he didn't care. Grimoire magic. Naruto improvised the name, screaming at the top of his lungs. Foxfire cannon. He didn't throw it like a ball. He punched the back of the sphere. Boom! The recoil cracked the ground beneath Naruto. The projectile launched across the water, tearing a trench through the lake's surface. It screamed like a whistling kettle. Zabuza saw it coming. He couldn't move. If he moved, the prison would break. It's just a brat's jutsu, Zabuza scoffed. My water prison is impenetrable. He braced his free hand to catch it. Bad move. The red-black sphere hit the water prison. It didn't impact. It didn't explode. It reacted. The anti-magic properties of the book, supercharged by the tailed beast chakra, didn't just nullify the water, it violently destabilized the molecular bonds of the jutsu. Hiss! Steam erupted. Not normal steam, scalding, chakra-infused vapor. The water prison boiled instantly. Aya! Zabuza screamed. The water around his hand turned into a superheated geyser. His control broke. He yanked his hand back, his skin red and blistered. The prison shattered into hot rain. Kakashi fell into the water coughing. He looked up stunned. The water around him was boiling hot. He looked at the shore. Naruto was standing there, smoke rising from his hands, the red eyes fading back to blue. The grimoire slammed shut with a finality that echoed across the lake. He boiled the jutsu? Kakashi thought, disbelief warring with pride. Zabuza clutched his burned hand, his eyes wild with rage. You little brat! I'll kill you! He swung the executioner's blade, charging at Naruto. The water clone had vanished when Zabuza lost concentration. Oh no you don't, Kakashi said. Kakashi was there. He intercepted Zabuza, kunai clashing against the giant sword. You let your guard down, Zabuza, Kakashi said, his Sharingan spinning madly. And my cute little students, they aren't just brats. They're ninjas of the leaf. The tide had turned. Kakashi, now free and angry, began to dismantle Zabuza. He copied Zabuza's movements perfectly, psychologically breaking the mist demon. Finally, Kakashi prepared the finishing blow. Water style, great waterfall jutsu. A massive vortex of water slammed into Zabuza, pinning him against the tree. Kakashi prepared a kunai to finish it. Thwack! Thwack! 2 Senbon needles flew from the trees, embedding themselves in Zabuza's neck. Zabuza went limp. He fell to the ground dead. A masked hunter nin, Haku, appeared on the branch above. Thank you, the hunter nin said softly. I have been tracking Zabuza for a long time. Naruto stared at the body. He was shaking. The adrenaline dump from the Kyuubi chakra was hitting him hard. His hands were numb. Is he dead? Naruto asked. Kakashi checked the pulse. No heartbeat. He's dead. The hunter nin bowed and vanished with the body. Kakashi pulled his headband down over his eye. He turned to the team. Good job, everyone, Kakashi smiled. His eyes rolled back. He collapsed face first into the dirt. Kakashi-sensei! Sakura screamed. Naruto tried to run to him, but his legs gave out. He fell to his knees. The grimoire felt incredibly heavy now. It was cold again. Sasuke walked over to Naruto. He looked at the smoking ground where Naruto had launched the attack. He looked at Naruto's burned hands. Hey, Sasuke said awkwardly. Naruto looked up, exhausted. Yeah? That wasn't terrible, Sasuke muttered. He offered a hand to pull Naruto up. Naruto grinned, taking the hand. Heh. Told you the book was cool. As they helped Kakashi up to carry him to Tazuna's house, none of them noticed the scorch mark on the tree where Zabuza had stood. The wood wasn't just burned, it was gray and withered, as if the life had been sucked out of it. And in the distance, Haku carried Zabuza's body. He glanced back toward the bridge, his eyes narrowing behind the mask. That boy. Haku thought. The chakra in that book, it felt like death. The land of waves smelled of brine and rot. It was a heavy, humid scent that clung to clothes and dampened spirits. Inside the house of Tazuna the bridge builder, the air was thick with a different kind of heaviness, the weight of impending doom. Kakashi Hatake lay on a futon in the center of the living room, a cold compress on his forehead. His single visible eye was closed, his breathing shallow. The extensive use of the Sharingan against Zabuza had drained him completely. Naruto sat cross-legged in the corner, polishing the cover of the grimoire with a rag. The black book was cool to the touch, indifferent to the humidity. Since the battle on the lake, the five-leaf clover on the cover seemed more defined, the crimson veins pulsing faintly every few minutes like a slow, slumbering heartbeat. He's been asleep for 2 days, Sakura whispered, sitting near Kakashi's head. Do you think he's going to be okay? He's a jonin, Sasuke said from the doorway, looking out at the foggy ocean. He's just exhausted. The Sharingan takes a toll on Nanachiha's. Naruto didn't look up. He'll wake up. He has to. We have to train. Train? Tazuna grunted, taking a swig from a bottle of sake. You kids should be running home. You barely survived Zabuza. And if Gato hires more men like him, you're dead. The bridge is doomed. Shut up, old man, Naruto snapped, though there was no heat in his voice. He ran his thumb over the rusted iron spine of the book. We didn't run. We fought. And we won. Did we? Sasuke turned, his eyes narrowing. Zabuza is dead, but something feels off. As if on cue, Kakashi groaned. His eye fluttered open. Sensei! Sakura cried out. Kakashi tried to sit up, then winced and fell back. Profound headache, check. Body feels like lead, check. Still alive, check. You pushed yourself too hard, Tsunami, Tazuna's daughter, scolded gently, bringing in a tray of tea. I had to, Kakashi rasped. He accepted the tea with a shaking hand. Zabuza was a formidable opponent. Was? Sasuke stepped into the room. You confirmed the kill. Kakashi paused. He lowered the teacup. His eye narrowed, staring into the middle distance as his brain replayed the final moments of the battle. The hunter nin. The Senbon needles. The lack of a death rattle. The body being taken away immediately. Naruto, Kakashi said suddenly. Pass me my pack. Naruto blinked, stood up, the grimoire thumping against his thigh, and tossed the pack to his teacher. What's wrong? Naruto asked. Hunter nin, Kakashi muttered, rummaging through his gear. Their job is to destroy the body on the spot to protect village secrets. They sever the head or burn the corpse. They don't carry the body away, and they use Senbon needles. So? Sakura asked. Senbon are rarely fatal unless they hit vital organs with pinpoint accuracy, Kakashi explained grimly. They are mostly used by medical ninja, to induce a state of suspended death. The room went cold. You mean? Naruto gripped the book. Zabuza is alive, Kakashi confirmed. Tazuna dropped his bottle. It shattered on the floor. Alive? Then we're finished. He'll come back. He needs time to recover, Kakashi said, trying to project calm. The state of suspended death puts a heavy strain on the body. We have a week, maybe slightly more. A week? Sasuke scoffed. You can't even move. How are we supposed to fight him in a week? Kakashi's eye curved into his signature closed-eye smile. I can't train you to beat Zabuza in a week. But I can teach you how to not die immediately. And, we have a secret weapon. Kakashi looked at Naruto. Or rather, at the book on Naruto's hip. Me? Naruto pointed to himself. Your artifact, Kakashi said. During the fight, you used it to boil a water prison. That wasn't normal chakra manipulation. That was raw power conversion. If you can learn to control that tap, you might just be the chaos factor we need. The forest behind Tsunami's house was dense and silent, the trees towering high into the mist. It was the perfect place for training, secluded, quiet, and full of obstacles. Kakashi leaned heavily on a pair of crutches. Team 7 stood before him. All right, Kakashi began. The training is simple. You're going to climb trees. Climb trees? Naruto groaned. Sensei, we know how to climb trees. We're not kids anymore. Without your hands, Kakashi added. He demonstrated. Shifting his weight to his crutches, he hobbled to a tree. Then, channeling chakra to the soles of his feet, he walked vertically up the trunk as if he were strolling on a sidewalk. He stopped upside down on a branch and looked down at them. This is about chakra control, Kakashi explained. By gathering a precise amount of chakra at the soles of your feet, you can stick to any surface. Too little, and you fall. Too much, and the tree repels you. He threw 3 kunai at their feet. Use these to mark your progress. Start. This looks easy. Sakura walked up to a tree. She focused. She walked up. 10 feet. 20 feet. She reached the highest branch and sat down, giggling. Like this? Kakashi sighed. Of course, the one with the smallest reserves has the best control. Good job, Sakura. Naruto gritted his teeth. I'm not gonna lose to Sakura. He stepped back. He glared at the tallest tree in the clearing. I'm gonna run all the way to the top. Naruto sprinted. He channeled his chakra. He could feel it, the warm, rushing river of energy in his gut. He pushed it down to his feet. Thump thump thump. He hit the tree trunk. His foot connected. Bzzrt. The moment his chakra-laden soul touched the bark, the grimoire on his hip reacted. It didn't open, but a pulse of black static traveled down Naruto's leg. Instead of sticking, the chakra at his feet turned volatile. It didn't adhere. It exploded. Boom. Wah! Naruto was blasted backward as if he had stepped on a landmine. He flew 10 feet through the air, spun, and landed face first in the dirt. The tree trunk had a massive, charred footprint where he had stepped. Ouch! Naruto mumbled, spitting out grass. Sasuke, meanwhile, had made it about 10 feet up before losing focus and jumping off. He looked at Naruto's charred footprint. You put too much power in, Dobe, Sasuke smirked. Shut up. Naruto scrambled up. It wasn't me. The book did something weird. Kakashi watched from his branch. His eye narrowed. I suspected as much. Naruto, Kakashi called down. Try again. But this time, don't try to use your own chakra. Try to pull from the book. Naruto frowned. He placed his hand on the grimoire. Pull from the book? But it eats my chakra. Exactly, Kakashi said. It's a filter. Your own chakra is wild and turbulent, thanks to certain conditions. The book refines it. But the book's nature is anti-magic or negation. It repels energy. Kakashi dropped down, landing softly despite his injury. Standard tree climbing works by magnetic adhesion. Your chakra sticks to the tree's life force. But your book, it rejects life force. You can't stick, Naruto. So I can't climb? Naruto looked devastated. I'm gonna fail again? Think outside the box. Kakashi tapped his temple. If you can't stick to the tree, make the tree come to you. Or rather, make a step. A step? Try to solidify the energy, Kakashi suggested. Instead of a thin film of adhesive, push a dense block of energy out of your foot. Don't stick to the wood. Stand on the energy. Naruto looked at the tree. He looked at the book. Stand on the energy. He closed his eyes. He poured chakra into the grimoire. The book vibrated. He imagined the energy flowing down his legs, but instead of the warm blue chakra, he visualized the heavy, thick, black sludge that made up the sword, heavy, solid, iron. He lifted his foot and stomped on the tree trunk. Crunch! Black energy flared under his sandal. It didn't stick. It formed a small, jagged platform of black light, hovering a millimeter off the bark. Naruto stepped onto it. It held his weight. I'm doing it! He lifted his other foot to take the next step. The concentration broke. The black platform dissolved. Naruto fell. Thud. Ow. Interesting, Kakashi mused. You're not climbing. You're creating hovering platforms. That requires 10 times the chakra of normal climbing, Naruto. You're essentially building a staircase of solid energy as you run. 10 times? Sakura gasped from the top branch. He'll pass out in minutes. Naruto sat up, wiping blood from his nose. His eyes burned with determination. 10 times the chakra? Naruto grinned, grabbing the grimoire. Good thing I've got a lot of it. The sun began to set. The sky turned a bruised purple, casting long shadows through the forest. Sakura had long since finished and was tasked by Kakashi to guard Tazuna. Kakashi had returned to the house to rest. Only Naruto and Sasuke remained. Sasuke was panting heavily. He was marked at 20 feet. His shirt was soaked in sweat. He glared at the tree, his competitive spirit burning brighter with every failure. Naruto was in worse shape. He lay on his back, his chest heaving. The grimoire lay next to him, steaming slightly. The tree in front of him looked like it had been assaulted by a bear. There were gouges, scorch marks, and dents all the way up to the 15-foot mark. Every step Naruto took required a burst of dense, heavy chakra. It was like doing a squat jump with weights every single time he moved his foot. Hey, Sasuke said, his voice raspy. Naruto turned his head. What? How are you doing that? Sasuke asked. He wasn't mocking him this time. He was genuinely curious. I can see the black sparks. You aren't sticking. It's heavy, Naruto whispered, staring at the canopy. It feels like walking through mud. Every time I make a step, the book tries to eat the energy back. I have to fight the book and the gravity at the same time. Sasuke looked at the grimoire. That thing, is it a curse? No, Naruto said firmly. He reached out and touched the leather cover. It's not a curse. It's just lonely. Lonely? Yeah, Naruto sat up. It feels empty. It wants to be full. It's like me. Sasuke went silent. He looked at his own hands. He thought about the emptiness of the Uchiha compound. The silence of his house. Humph, Sasuke turned back to his tree. You're weird. You're just jealous I'm catching up. Naruto yelled, struggling to his feet. You're 5 feet below me, loser, Sasuke retorted. Not for long. Naruto grabbed the grimoire. He slammed it against his hip. Let's go, book. One more time. He ran. Stomp. 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 Black plates of energy materialized under his feet with every step, sounding like heavy boots on metal. Clang. 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 He ran vertical. 10 feet. 12 feet. 14. His chakra flickered. The book stuttered. Slip. Wah! He fell again. Sasuke smirked, but there was respect in his eyes. He wiped his forehead and charged his own tree again. They continued into the night, the sounds of impact and falling echoing through the dark woods. The next morning, Naruto woke up before the sun. His body screamed. Every muscle fiber felt torn and restitched. His chakra coils felt raw, like he had swallowed hot sand. He rolled out of his sleeping bag on the floor of Tazuna's living room. He didn't want to wake anyone. He needed air. And he needed herbs. Tsunami had mentioned her father needed rest, and Naruto remembered seeing healing herbs in the woods while he was falling out of trees yesterday. He grabbed his basket, and of course, the grimoire. He walked into the misty woods. The air was cool and damp. It helped soothe the burning in his skin. He found a patch of medicinal herbs near a clearing. As he crouched down to pick them, he realized he wasn't alone. A girl, no, a boy with long hair and a pink kimono, was gathering herbs nearby. He had a basket too. Naruto blinked. Oh. Hello? The boy turned. He had a gentle, feminine face and kind eyes. Good morning. You're up early. Yeah, Naruto said, scratching his head. Training. Trying to get stronger. Stronger? The boy smiled. Why do you want to be strong? To become Hokage? Naruto declared instinctively. And, to make people acknowledge me. The boy paused. He looked at Naruto, then his eyes drifted to the heavy, battered black book strapped to Naruto's waist. That is a very unusual book, the boy noted. It looks sad. Naruto froze. Sad? Yes, the boy said, standing up. Tools often reflect their owners, or their purpose. That book, it feels cold. Like it was made for war, but abandoned. Naruto looked down at the grimoire. He touched the 5-leaf clover. It was abandoned, Naruto said softly. The old man said it was found in ruins. No one touched it for years. When I found it, it bit me, the boy chuckled. It was defending itself. It was waiting for someone who could carry its weight. Who are you? Naruto asked. I'm Haku, the boy said. I'm Naruto Uzumaki. Tell me, Naruto. Haku stepped closer. Do you have someone precious to you? Precious? When a person has something precious they want to protect, that is when they become truly strong, Haku said. His eyes were distant, looking past Naruto. I have someone precious. I am his tool. I live for him, and I fight for him. My life has no meaning without him. Naruto frowned. A tool? But you're a person. Is there a difference? Haku tilted his head. If you are a ninja, you are a tool of the village. If you use that book, are you its master, or is it yours? Naruto looked at the grimoire. Master? Tool? We're partners, Naruto said firmly. I feed it chakra, and it protects me. Like a teammate. Haku smiled, a genuine, heartbreakingly sad smile. Partners. That is a nice way to think of it. I hope you can protect your partner, Naruto. Haku picked up his basket. I must go. My friend is injured. Oh. I hope he gets better. Naruto waved. Thank you, Haku said. He turned to leave, then paused. By the way, you're a boy, right? Yeah, just checking. Haku vanished into the mist. Naruto stood there for a moment. He felt strange. The grimoire hadn't reacted to Haku at all. Usually, it buzzed near strangers, sensing chakra. But Haku's presence was so serene, so void of malice, the book had slept through the entire encounter. A tool. Naruto whispered. He tightened the strap on his belt. No. We're not tools. We're ninja. Naruto returned to the training ground with a new fire in his eyes. Sasuke was already there, hanging upside down from a branch about 25 feet up. He looked exhausted but smug. Late again, Dobe, Sasuke called down. I met a weird pretty boy in the woods, Naruto shouted back. And he gave me advice. Advice on hair care? Advice on strength. Naruto approached his tree. He looked at the scarred bark. Don't fight the book, he thought. Haku said the book was sad. It was abandoned. It doesn't want to hurt me. It just doesn't know how to be gentle. Naruto closed his eyes. He put his hand on the cover. Okay, he whispered. I know you're hungry. And I know you're heavy. But if we don't get up this tree, we die next week. And if I die, you go back to the dusty shelf. The book hummed. A low, vibrating resonance. Let's go. Naruto channeled his chakra. But this time, he didn't shove it in violently. He trickled it in, matching the rhythm of the book's pulse. Thump. Thump. He visualized the black platforms not as jagged explosions, but as stepping stones. He ran. Step. 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 The black energy formed smoothly under his feet. Silent. Solid. He passed the 10-foot mark. The 15-foot mark. Sasuke watched, his eyes widening. He's faster. The waste energy is gone. Naruto passed the 20-foot mark. He looked up. The top branch was close. Yeah. He poured a massive burst into the final jump. A platform materialized in midair, not even touching the tree. He kicked off it, launching himself upward. His hand grabbed the highest branch. He swung his legs up and pulled himself onto the canopy. He stood up. The wind blew through his hair. The mist had cleared slightly at this altitude. He could see the ocean. He could see the bridge. I did it! Naruto screamed, throwing his arms up. I'm the king of the world. You're loud, a voice said next to him. Naruto jumped. Sasuke was sitting on the adjacent branch, looking at the view. Sasuke! When did you get here? Just now, Sasuke lied. He had been there for 5 minutes waiting for Naruto. The two boys sat in silence for a moment, catching their breath. They were high above the world. The problems of Gato, Zabuza, and the village seemed small from here. That book, Sasuke said suddenly. Yeah? It's strong, Sasuke admitted. But your control is still trash. Hey! But Sasuke looked at Naruto, a rare smirk on his face. You're not dragging us down anymore. Naruto beamed. He patted the grimoire. You hear that book? We're not dead weight. The book felt warm. That evening, dinner was a battlefield. I want seconds! Naruto yelled, shoving his bowl forward. Me too! Sasuke shouted, shoving his bowl. They glared at each other, lightning crackling between their eyes. Then, simultaneously, they vomited. Stop eating if you're going to throw up! Sakura screamed, bonking them both on the head. Kakashi sat in the corner, reading his book, but he was watching them closely. They've both grown, Kakashi thought. Sasuke has refined his chakra flow. And Naruto. Naruto has forged a rudimentary pact with that artifact. He's no longer just a battery, he's a conduit. By the way, Sensei, Naruto said, wiping his mouth. I figured something out. Oh? The book, Naruto tapped the cover. It doesn't just push. It pulls. Pulls? Yeah, Naruto explained. When I was climbing, if I made the black steps sticky instead of solid, it sucked the bark toward me. It damaged the tree though. Kakashi lowered his book. Attraction and repulsion. Basic forces. If he can master that. Keep that in mind, Naruto, Kakashi said seriously. Against Zabuza, that might save your life. But be careful. If you pull the wrong thing, like a sword, you might regret it. 7 days later, the bridge was enveloped in a thick, unnatural fog. The workers had fled. Tazuna stood by his construction, trembling. Team 7 stood in formation. They're here, Sasuke whispered, his Sharingan, not yet active, but ready, sensing the shift in the air. Kakashi. Zabuza's voice echoed from everywhere and nowhere. I see you brought the brats again. And the boy with the diary. Naruto stepped forward. The grimoire was no longer banging against his leg. He had tightened the strap. He stood with a new confidence, his hand resting on the hilt of the invisible sword inside the pages. It's not a diary, Naruto shouted into the mist. It's a grimoire. And today, we're gonna finish this story. 2 figures emerged from the mist. Zabuza, wielding the Kubikiribocho. And beside him, a masked figure in a hunter nin outfit. Naruto froze. The masked figure. The height. The aura. It's him, Naruto realized. The boy from the woods. Sorry, Naruto, Haku's voice came from behind the mask, sad and cold. But as I told you, I am a tool. And I must protect my master. The grimoire on Naruto's hips slammed open. It sensed the killing intent this time. The pages fluttered rapidly, stopping on a page filled with jagged, defensive runes. War. Begin.